Right now, you can close a door. You can put in headphones. You can sit alone in a room and no one will know what you're thinking. That feels normal. It feels like it's always been this way. But it hasn't. For almost the entire span of human existence, there was no door to close. There was no room of your own. There was barely a you that existed apart from the group. So how did ancient humans have a private life at all? The answer is stranger than you think. And it changes what privacy even means. Picture a hunter-gatherer camp 40,000 years ago. A ring of huts, maybe 15 or 20 people, fires burning close together. Everyone sleeps within a few feet of everyone else. Everyone hears everyone else eat, argue, cough, cry, and make love. There are no walls. There are no locks. There is nowhere to go where eyes and ears cannot follow. And yet, somehow, humans survived like this for over 100,000 years. Did they simply not need what we now call privacy? Or did they build it in a completely different way? Anthropologist Richard Lee spent years living among the Jew/Hoansi San people of the Kalahari, one of the last groups still practicing a foraging lifestyle similar to our ancient ancestors. What he found wasn't an absence of private life. It was a hidden architecture of privacy, built not from walls, but from social rules. People learned exactly how far to look away when someone undressed. They learned which conversations happened only at certain fires, at certain times, among certain people. Physical space was shared completely. Psychological space was fiercely protected. Your body was visible to everyone. Your inner world was not. This is the first clue. Privacy didn't start as a place. It started as a behavior. Think about that for a second. A door is a modern invention. But the averted glance, the lowered voice, the silence that says, "This is not for you," that's ancient. That's older than architecture. That's older than agriculture. Before there were walls, there were social walls, and they were enforced far more strictly than any lock. Why would a species evolve invisible walls before it evolved real ones? The evolutionary anthropologist Robin Dunbar has a theory that gets at the heart of it. Dunbar spent decades studying primate social groups, and he found something remarkable. As group size grows, so does the mental effort required to track relationships, reputations, and hidden information. Dunbar's research suggests the human brain evolved largely to manage this social complexity, to track who knows what about whom. In small hunter-gatherer bands, information itself became the most valuable currency there was. What you knew, and who else knew it, could determine who ate well and who didn't, who married well and who didn't, who survived conflict and who was cast out. This means privacy wasn't a luxury for your ancestors, it was a survival strategy. Not privacy of the body, privacy of information. Here's where it gets stranger. In many hunter-gatherer societies, total physical exposure existed alongside intense secrecy about knowledge. Jew, hoansi elders held ecological knowledge, healing knowledge, and ritual knowledge that only certain people were allowed to learn, and only at certain ages. Wiessner, an anthropologist who studied firelight conversations among the Jew/Hoansi for decades, found that daytime talk was practical and public, focused on complaints, negotiations, and gossip. But nighttime talk around the fire shifted entirely. It became stories, myths, and carefully guarded cultural knowledge, shared only with those the group trusted to carry it forward. The fire itself became a kind of door. Not a door you could see, a door made of trust. So your ancestors didn't lack privacy. They simply located it somewhere your instincts don't expect. Not in their bedrooms, in their minds, their secrets, and their timing. Now here's the twist that should make you rethink everything you assumed. Total physical closeness may not have felt invasive to them at all, because their brains weren't wired to expect solitude the way yours is. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm studied what he called reverse dominance hierarchies. In foraging societies, systems where the entire group actively worked to prevent any one person from gaining too much power, wealth, or control over others. Constant social visibility wasn't a bug. It was the enforcement mechanism. If everyone can see what you're doing, no one can quietly seize control. Privacy of action in this world wasn't just unavailable, it was dangerous. A person who wanted too much distance from the group looked suspicious. What are they hiding? What are they planning? Group survival depended on transparency of behavior. So think about what this means for you, sitting in a private room right now. Your instinct to seek solitude isn't some universal human constant stretching back to the dawn of the species. It's a relatively new psychological experiment. For most of human history, disappearing from view wasn't peaceful. It was alarming. And yet, something in you still craves that closed door. Why? If your ancestors thrived on total transparency, why does modern privacy feel less like a luxury and more like an actual need? Psychologist Irwin Altman offered an answer that reframes the entire question. Altman proposed that humans don't actually want constant privacy or constant openness. What they want is control over the boundary between the two. He called it privacy regulation, the ability to open up when you choose and close off when you choose. In ancient camps, that control wasn't expressed through walls. It was expressed through subtle signals, an averted gaze, a lowered voice, a shift in body posture, a walk to the tree line. Your ancestors weren't seeking isolation. They were seeking the power to choose when to be seen. That instinct, the desire for control, not concealment, is what survived into you. This changes the whole picture, doesn't it? You don't crave privacy because ancient humans hid in caves alone. You crave it because ancient humans needed the ability to regulate exposure. And for 100,000 years, they built that regulation out of behavior instead of brick. Then, roughly 10,000 years ago, everything shifted. Agriculture created surplus. Surplus created permanent settlements. Permanent settlements created walls, not just around villages, but around individual homes. For the first time, privacy could be built instead of negotiated. And something curious happened. As physical privacy increased, something else had to fill the gap that ancient social rules used to occupy. Trust had to be renegotiated. Reputation had to travel further because you could no longer see everyone who might be talking about you. The very walls that gave you solitude also gave you the ability to hide. And hiding, for the first time in human history, became genuinely possible instead of merely performed. That single shift, from behavioral privacy to architectural privacy, may be one of the most underrated turning points in human psychology. It's the moment private life stopped being something you did and started being something you owned. So when you close your bedroom door tonight, understand what's actually happening. You are not doing something ancient, you're doing something new, built on top of something ancient. The instinct is old. The tool is recent. Your desire to be unseen didn't come from ancestors who hid alone in the dark. It came from ancestors who mastered the art of choosing, moment to moment, exactly how much of themselves to reveal to the people around the fire. And maybe that's the real story here. Privacy was never about walls. It was never really about being alone at all. It was about control. Who gets to see you, when, and how much. Your ancestors fought for that control with glances and silence and timing. You fight for it with locks and screens and headphones. Different tools. Same ancient need. Tonight, when you finally close that door, you won't just be shutting out the world. You'll be doing something humans have done since before there were doors at all. You'll be choosing for just a moment exactly how much of yourself the world gets to see.